Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Blue Ridge Silverhound. I'm your host, Sean, and today we're going to take a look at the Pocket Change Market Report for the week of March 23rd, 2020. So, for this particular week, we're going to look, believe it or not, from the last 2 days of activities regarding your change finds that possibly you could turn around and make a few bucks on. Surprisingly, there are a number of coins on the list that I just couldn't believe how much they sold for. We're going to go ahead and deep dive into every available listing from within the last 48 hours. It's very plentiful. People are still buying these errors and varieties that you, as a treasure hunter, are looking for in your pocket change and your bankrolls. So, sounds like a lot of people have a lot of free time. Okay, with everything going on, and this would be a great way to add not only to the hobby, but also to the secondary market. Let's go ahead and continue to strengthen the e-commerce world by introducing a lot of really neat pieces that have entered the market and will enter the market. So, as always, I can't stress this enough. With again, this thing going on today, I cannot stress, when you're going through pocket change or even those bankrolls, wear gloves, and if you need to, wear a mask. Don't eat food while you're searching through your change. Number one, that's disgusting anyways, and that number two, it's it could be a hazard to your health. But anyways, this is a lot of fun. A lot of money still flying around. A lot of the coins I will talk about all came from eBay. They are going to be original images provided by the seller. So we wanted to keep these images 100% as to what you and I would typically look at when we're searching around for some pretty neat pieces. So featuring the finest pocket change flips that will get your treasure hunt jump started. I think by the time we're all set and done going through this video, maybe you'll find a little bit of inspiration to go through your change and find some of these elusive coins that maybe you don't know exist. So, you probably saw a little snippet earlier. I accidentally hit a button. But we have this 1948 Lincoln wheat cent. Now, this is, again, pictures right off the listing, the reverse image that you'll see here, and I'll have my mouse pointer to help identify some of the things that error collectors are seeing to really pump up and drive the value of these coins. So the reverse image is out of focus, but everything that has to do with this particular listing is all clear. On the front, you'll notice this kind of crack looking deal right here. It's not a die crack, and what it really is this is a lamination. Or the beginnings of such. So the lamination goes nearly rim to rim. It's very neat, very evident. The coin in itself is in pretty decent shape. I would peg this as a raw XF, maybe a high-end VF, like a VF35 type coin. I mean, it looks good. It hasn't been cleaned. It's a fully original example. This one sold as a buy it now option on eBay for $7.44. Pretty neat coin. All right, you'll find a few laminations on the list, and yeah, some of them sold for a pretty good amount of coin. You'll be surprised. All right, so the next one that we have here, now keeping in mind that this quarter is a 2005 P. It's a Philadelphia minted Kansas state quarter. Now, you could find something like this on other state quarters, not just Kansas. So keep an eye for coins that exhibit some weakness in the strike, where you actually get loss of some of the devices or letters in the motto, the date, things of that nature. This one right here is simply just a common strike through that was struck through probably a gob of grease or a layer of grease on the coin. It's what I would consider to be a raw XF type coin. This one sold for $9.44. So pretty neat example. Again, believe it or not, coins like this, as minor as they seem error-wise, people are still paying, a few bucks for. It's pretty crazy. And if you cobble together, 7, 8, or 10 finds, out of these rolls of quarters or pennies or whatever. It all adds up. Okay, getting to $100 on eBay is really easy with a number of coins. You don't have to find just that one big coin to make it happen, but you can find a bunch of different finds. So this is a pretty neat example here. So this one right here is a no date Lincoln cent blank, only it was struck way off center. It's about 98% off center. You can see that partial strike right here. This thing never even made it inside the striking chamber. I don't know what in the world happened, but yeah, 98% off center strike. It's a raw coin. It indicates that it has seen some sort of circulation. Kind of hard to believe considering it's a Lincoln cent planchet blank, with exception of the little minuscule strike. But the cool thing is, right on this little off-center strike, you could see S&T in trust. So you could identify a few letters in the motto, and I think that's what really drives this one home as being a really neat find. This one right here is sold for $8.20 within the last few hours. Pretty neat. All right, so here's an off-center 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is off-center about 20%. Okay, the cool thing about it is it's in really nice condition. I would say it's kind of like a low-end, mid-state, red-brownish kind of grade. You do have a full date. It'd been neater if it had, like, a wide AM variant, which I've seen before on some of these off-centers during the 98 to 2000 range of Lincoln cents. But this one here, pretty pleasing, a nice kind of like low-end example in terms of value. I mean, with all things considered, it did sell for $9.25. And I've been asked, just for previous pocket change market reports, whether or not this is a truly viable coin to find in change. And I could honestly say yes. Coins of this type, like a 10 to 30% off-center, will still fit in a traditional Lincoln cent roll. So it's only when you get like a lot larger spread of the off-center nature of that error where it's going to be even more difficult to find. But just take a look at this coin. I mean, it has seen a little bit of circulation, which indicates that at one point it wasn't changed, it was found, it was pulled out, and subsequently held into a collection before it was time to sell. So these, again, are a viable error coin to find in your change. And I would encourage you to continue to not only look for coins like this, but everything else on the list as well. Some of them are quite under the radar and they're easy to miss. All right, so the next one that we have here is a 1974D Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is double struck. So you have the initial strike right here. I'll get into what these little lines are here, these radial lines here in a moment. But you have a secondary off-center strike. The second strike is about 85% off-center, but you still have a lot of detail, in God we, in the motto is on there, and then on the reverse you have one, and then the C of cent. So you get a lot of like really nice, appealing devices on the secondary strike. Now, this one obviously, from first glance, came right out of circulation. So this one did find a little bit of circulation action for a while before it was discovered and then pulled out of circulation. Another telltale thing that you'll want to pay attention to are these lines, like I had talked about. This coin was in a roll, and it was actually a roll ender at one point. This is actually damage stemming from the crimper device on the coin roll machinery. So the coins would get scooped, or it would get fed into the actual paper rolls, and then the crimper device would crimp down the ends, and then this is just simply damage as a result of that. So in hindsight, this is a coin that has a little bit, it is a damaged coin because of the roller marks on there, but it is still nonetheless a really stimulating error that collectors will even buy, even with those roller marks. So this coin right here sold for $54. Again, double struck, triple struck coins command quite a bit of money regardless of its warts. So, all All right, so this one right here is a 1976 Roosevelt Dime. It is off center by about 10%. It's not terribly bad as far as the amount of offset on there, but you know it's like somewhere in that 7 to 10% off center range. It's a raw kind of like low end mid state type coin. This one sold for $21.50. This one actually sold yesterday on 3/22, and all the other coins on the list will be sold from yesterday. So you know it's about the last like 30 hours of sales. All right, so this one right here, and I've also talked about coins like this. Every time I go through these bags of wheat cents, okay, these are coins. I'm telling you guys that people find interesting, okay? An error collector is like anything with any sort of funny anomaly to it. So this is a 1954 Lincoln wheat cent. Of course, during the 50s, especially on San Francisco and Denver minted coins, you get a lot of some of the late stage deteriorating dies, okay? In this particular case, you have a lot of die chips in the date, and they all come from like varying degrees of the stage of life of these dies. It gets to a point where they're so broken that they either scrap the dies or they completely re-engrave them. So this one right here is about, I would say like a raw, like AU, you know, type. It's a nice example. You can see all of the little die chips in the date. This one was actually listed as a 1954 SJ, which is funny. It is a San Francisco minted coin. You can see the S embedded right there. But this little die chip, or this die crack that goes from the bottom tail of the 5 into the S, has a formation of a J, okay? SJ, like San Jose. It's pretty crazy. And because of that, because of the funny kind of like letter-looking anomaly of this crack, or this chip, this one sold for $8.50. So, again, anybody that collects these things, you know, they like buying stuff that's funny and odd and peculiar, strange, and neat, all in the same vein. All right, so we have a 1999 Philadelphia Lincoln Memorial cent. Again, this is one of your run-of-the-mill, you know, coins from the last 25 years, still very much available in change at these high-grade states. This particular example is a ever so slight broad strike. All right, so it's going to be somewhat larger than the overall diameter of a Lincoln cent or circumference. You can see just kind of like just how bigger the rim looks. You can see how stretched out the area is between the motto and the rim, and you can see that on the reverse as well. So it's a little bit bigger. It's not quite the size of a nickel because that would be extraordinary. But this one right here sold for $13.50 here yesterday. All right, so what do we got next on the list? We have a 1953 D over D repunched mint mark. Kudos to the seller for providing what I would say more than acceptable images. Okay, so both images here, you have a full frontal image of the coin, and then you have a really nice, really crisp and clear close-up of the mint mark. So this one is like a raw XF. Get that out of the way real quick. And this is RPM FS501. So this is a Cherry Picker's Guide variety. It's one of the more popular ones, but also one of the more common repunch mint marks during the 50s. I have a number of these. But this is a really, really nice, pleasing, original example that doesn't have a whole lot of issues. Again, keep an eye out for these repunch mint marks. There's a ton of them out there going into the 60s. This one sold for $8.55. All right, go ahead and dust off those old proof sets, especially from the 50s and 60s, because you may find this coin. So this is a 1964 proof Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like just a regular proof Jefferson nickel. You know, it doesn't have any cameo like, you know, some of these early 60s proof coins don't show. But this particular one has a slight rotated reverse, approximately 10 to 15 degrees counterclockwise reverse on this coin. and even with all that said, it sold for $19.75. A coin that traditionally has trouble selling for about $1. Unless you really needed one for a collection or an album. If it's anything ordinary, it's not going to sell for a lot. This one, however, is a nice little mild error. Keep an eye out for these in your proof and mint sets. They do show up on occasion. I found a few myself. All right, so we got a 2000 Denver Virginia State Quarter. As you can see, it's a little bit off center. So we have a nice little maybe 5, 6, 7% off center strike on this particular coin right here. Judging from the images, it has definitely seen a little bit of circulation. I would peg this one to be like a high XF, maybe a low AU, like an AU 50-ish type grade. 5% off center error. This one sold for $19.90 here yesterday. Keep an eye out for this. They do exist. All right, here's one that not a lot of people pay attention to. Okay, it's another state quarter. It's a 2005 Philadelphia. You are only going to find these on the Philadelphia minted Minnesota state quarters. This particular one is the doubled die reverse number 1. That's what they call the extra tree variety. There are actually a number of different varieties of the extra tree on this particular date. And it's a pretty neat find. Some would say it's very minor, but judging from the actual sale of this coin right here, it's definitely worth looking for. Now, it's a nice raw, I would say, AU condition coin. You still have a little bit of luster. But if you can look into this box right here, this is the doubled tree. All right, so you have an extra tree in the background, which generally would not be there. Okay, that's not a normal thing to have that extra tree. So this release of the Minnesota State Quarter back in 2005 was a veritable kind of like cherry picker's delight. All right, there are a number. I don't know the exact number of different extra tree varieties for this date exist. There is quite a few of them. All right, so this is where you can kind of play around and have fun. This particular example sold for $22.20. I would have to say that this is a cherry picker's guide variety, and that's kind of how the value is driven on this coin, even though it's relatively minor in nature. But it is a worthwhile find anyways. Do not overlook these coins, especially you folks on the East Coast, where a lot of these are still out there floating around in change. All right, this is a worthwhile find. And number 2, make sure you take good pictures. That's going to drive home a lot of the value with these coins. All right, so this beauty right here is a 1969 S Lincoln Memorial Cent. Okay, this particular date and mint mark combination is iconic for one very big reason, and that is the 69S doubled die obverse that I would say has been on the big list of everybody's treasure hunting activities. If you're able to find the real deal FS101 doubled die obverse 69S, you would have a coin, especially in this condition that you see on screen, a coin that's worth many tens of thousands of dollars. I would say this coin probably would grade out at a mid-state 63-ish. That, full red, that would be a coin that would be like $30,000 to $40,000. Okay, to give you an idea of value. Now, you can look for the lesser type coins. This one here is neither an error nor a variety, but it is simply a byproduct of a deteriorating die. And what we have here is some pretty incredible machine doubling. Okay, you could see just all the flat-like shelf features on the devices. And this exists pretty regularly on the 69S. And for the longest time, even still to this day, it gets misunderstood as being the big dog double die obverse of 69, when in reality it's just a machine doubled type of coin. So again, to reiterate, machine doubling happens when the coin is being struck. The dies come off, to complete the strike. There's a little bit of die hop. that smashes into the devices a little bit. So there's a little shift, a little play in there, and that's where you get machine doubling. So there's a little die hop in there. But this coin right here, yeah, it sold for $61.69. If that doesn't tell a whole lot, this is again a coin that shows up pretty regularly in change. It doesn't have to be a high grade specimen like this to make some sort of money. Okay, I'm not one to endorse machine doubling, but if there is a secondary market action or value to it, I would say, heck, why not go for it? People are going to be scrimping and scraping for money here real soon, if not now. That, just go ahead and find one and then sell it. Make a few bucks in the process. And, it would certainly make anyone feel good finding this. All right, so we have a 1985 D Lincoln Memorial Cent, which exhibits two pretty cool looking clips. Okay, so it's got two rim clips. It also has the corresponding Blakesley effect, which would fall directly opposite on the other side of the rim of those clips. So you have one right here, and the seller actually did a good job numbering the actual clips and Blakesley effects on the coin, so that way it'll give you an idea of what you're looking at and the legitimacy of this coin. Now, finding clips like this on these 1980s coins is not easy. Okay, there's not a whole lot of them out there, so this one is a really nice example. It's like a raw XF condition. Sold for $23.50. Yeah, you heard that right. 23 bones for this coin that ordinarily probably would get passed up in change. All right, here's a candy half dollar that pops up quite frequently. So for all you avid candy half dollar searchers, keep this one in the back of your mind. The 1982p with the braided die reverse where it shows no FG designer initials is sought after, okay, to an extent. Even the low-grade examples like this, they sell for a little bit of money. This one sold for $6.99. It's a nice raw VF. I mean, it's nothing to write home to mother about, but again, you cobble enough of these kind of like minor varieties and errors together, they all add up. So this is one definitely to keep an eye out on. As of now, it's worth about 2.5 40% candy halves. So if you found one of these, sold it for $7, it's like finding 2.5 40% halves. Pretty cool. All right, so this one is not fancy. It's been circulated. It's dirty. It's grimy. It's got folds. I would say grade-wise, it probably is like a low-end VF20, fine 15. When it comes to the grading scale of paper currency. But this is a 2003A $1 Federal Reserve note. Okay, as you guys see, it's a fancy. It's got a low serial number, 666. Some of you will probably reserve your, your judgments on this note and just owning it because of that. But some would say it's also pseudo-binary. Okay, a real binary is 0 and 1s. But it's also been adopted to be any combination of two numbers on a serial number string. So you got 0s and 6s. It's a low serial number. And because of all that, and the grade, I mean, check out the back, if we can look at the back. The back displays a lot better than the front. And usually when it comes to the overall value of a piece of currency, what shows up on the front of the note means probably 2 to 3 times more to a collector than the reverse of the note. So this one sold for $88.99 in this particular grade state. Again, proving positive that certain types of collectibles are worth quite a bit of money to those groups. So this one's pretty neat. It's a 1962D Lincoln Memorial Cent that exhibits a retained fragment of lamination. So laminations, again, are a byproduct of a improper alloy mix on a lot of these coins. Okay, this particular example had a lamination peel that fell off but was retained. You can actually see it right here folded over, and it still has in on there. You could conceivably, if you wanted to, and it would probably ruin the value a great deal is to fold this back in place. Okay, but keeping it like this seems to be a lot better of a story of this coin. The coin itself is about a raw, about uncirculated coin. And this one's sold for $40, guys. Retained laminations are the real deal in the error community, especially when you can see a little bit of some of those devices of where it was struck. All right, so there you go. All right, how about another dollar bill? This is a 2006 Series $1 Federal Reserve note that features a full front-to-back wet ink transfer. Okay, an offset error is what they also call it. So you can see a lot of the details of the front of the note that's been wet transferred. So when these were printed and you had the sheets kind of fall on top of each other, if the ink was wet enough, the image would transfer onto the corresponding side that it is sitting on. So this one right here features a 100% full transfer of the front to the back of the note. And here's the front. Totally clean. If you don't flip the note over, you wouldn't even know better. This one sold for $135.74. Yeah. Search your pocket change, people. All right, how about another kind of like, what is this, a broad strike? It's a right good size. It's a 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent. The seller did add a Jefferson nickel for comparison. The coin is pretty close to being about the size of a Jefferson nickel. It's not quite there, but it's pretty noticeable. It is a lot larger. Probably would have a hard time fitting in a standard penny paper roll. But this one right here sold for $9.75. All right, pretty nice. So this next one was pretty interesting. This one right here is a 1962, or maybe it's a 64. It's kind of hard to make out the date. But this one was struck through a die cap, and probably a late stage die cap at that. The die cap probably had broken a little bit, and that's why you have some of these kind of like fold lines in here. But the reverse is in perfect condition, all right? But you have a lot of the kind of hallmarks of a die cap strike through on this coin. So this one right here, I would say raw, about uncirculated. Sold for $114.82. Pretty neat. All right, guys, check out your 2019 Lincoln Shield cents. You probably want to check out 2018s and 2020s and all of that great stuff, because you might find something that's worth a few bucks. This particular coin right here, at first glance, doesn't look like anything really to discuss. The coin looks very clean. It's a, kind of like a really nice, choice, brilliant, uncirculated type piece here. But upon closer examination, the coin features a little bit of kind of like nice hidden treasure. You have a small little crack on the reverse that goes from the rim to the T in cent. You also have a little die chip right here. Sorry, the pictures are a little pixelated, all from the seller. You have a little bit of a die crack on the forehead of Lincoln. And then on Lincoln's hair, you also have this crack that goes through as well. So this coin right here sold for $8.50, and that's why I'm saying check your new Lincoln Shield cents, because there's some pretty interesting, if albeit relatively valuable errors to find. More lamination, this time a 1957D. This thing is crumbling right before our eyes, but you have a really nice size retained lamination. Not only features all these little bits and pieces that are still sitting on the coin, but you also have this bigger piece right here that is also still attached, along with a few others here on the top of jacket area. So this right here is a raw, about uncirculated brown with a few hints of red in there, sold for $17.98. All right, one of my favorite dates for finding doubled dies. It's a 2014 Lincoln Shield set. As you can see at first glance, it doesn't look like a whole lot. If you have a really good type of magnifier, typically 8 times power would be suitable, you could find something like this. A doubled die offers. This is number 3 in the Wexler files. As you can tell, there's a tremendous amount of thickening in the numbers of the date. Okay, and this is one of the big telltale signs of this particular doubled die. Pretty nice. All right, sold for $14 yesterday. And even though the coin is in high grade, even a little bit of lower graded examples that are not quite as full mint state red would still sell for $5 to $10. So definitely keep an eye out for these. How about 1994 Lincoln Memorial Cent? Actually, we are down to our last two coins, and they're both going to be graded, okay, for the mere fact that this is the big-time possibilities of what you can do based on the efforts of looking through your change. 1994 Double to Die Reverse FS 801. It's a Cherry Picker's Guide variety. As you can see, it's an Annex AU 55. If you're looking to send out coins to grade, Annex would definitely be the least expensive. They are still incredibly reliable. But if you're looking to save money, this is definitely the company to go for. As of right now, I believe all grading companies are closed until next month to obvious reasons. But as you can see the doubled columns right here on the last bay, and then a little bit right here. This coin sold for $39.90. This particular coin, because of how strong the doubling is on the reverse, you probably don't need to grade it. So a word of caution, you would probably get 30 to 40 bucks anyways as a raw example. And then finally, this is a crown jewel in any collection if you're able to find a coin much like this, not specifically this this date or mint mark, but if you could find a really nice double struck Lincoln cent in color. Okay, it's not off center. The secondary strike is not off center, but it is in color, double struck. You can see the secondary impressions of the jacket, the back of head of Lincoln. All sorts of neat stuff happening here. This, of course, is a PCGS Mint State 65 full red. This is, again, one of those crown jewels for any error collection. And the beneficiary is twofold, okay? You have the collector and you have the seller. The seller can make a lot of money off these coins. This is an example that sold yesterday for $748.35. Yep, this is what we play for, guys. Things like this, along with a myriad of other different really neat varieties, especially in the Lincoln Cent series. They are out there, even in these particularly trying times. Sales are brisk. They're brisk, baby, and people are opening their wallets for all these coins. So a little quick message. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's long, but you know, when we have a lot to talk about, that's what really matters. Hopefully this video has been a little bit of inspiration into getting you to pick up some coins. Again, you know, the narrative shouldn't ever have to change, okay? But I couldn't stress more. Wear protection when sorting through your change or bankrolls. Wear some nice gloves and a face mask if necessary. Don't wipe your face while you're sorting through change, obviously, because it's disgusting and dirty. But this is just the new world we live in for now. So definitely take care of yourself. There's a lot of money to be made doing this. As you can see, this is just a small snippet of the possibilities that exist out there. So, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notification. And I am your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Thanking you guys again for joining me this morning. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Good luck with the hunt, and I'll see you on the next video.